Lost Stories one. This anthology Indian movie that has 4 directors on board. I saw that it had 2 Emmy nominations. And I'm like, okay, let me see what's going to happen here. And it's a really nice one.
From the title, I didn't know I would like Lost Stories. So this is for the decided to tell from a women's point of view, relationship, love in modern India. I think this is the first time I'm watching an anthology film.
Yes, and this is their second work together.
Yes.
They have Bombay Turkeys, and they have another one, Ghost Stories, that came after Lost Stories one. I want to see Ghost Stories.
This movie just reminded me why I like even books. I love anthologies.
I know they are short stories, but they just at the end of the story, it's just this satisfying thing that you just feel like, okay, I know what's going to happen, or oh, this is nice, this is mind blowing.
In as much as the writers and the entire team really did well putting together Lost Stories, we just have to rank our favorite stories.
Yeah.
So we're going from the worst to the best. I'm going to ranking them on how much they evoked emotions in me.
Yeah.
How I reacted to it after. Did the story stay with me? Did I like the story? Did I believe the stories? So that's how I'm going to be ranking my worst to best.
For me, I'll be ranking them according to the story itself and how it just felt, seeing the story, how it ended, the pacing, and just everything in general for the story.
The one at the bottom here for me is the story by Karan Johar. In this story, we know that there are a lot of arranged marriages in India, and she got married to this guy, but he does not actually satisfy her fully in bed. And she has this co-worker that is sexually forward in her doings. So the woman's adult toy was seized by the principal. So this woman, she took this toy from the principal's drawer. She was also a teacher in the school, and she decided to use this toy. It so happened that her mother-in-law came and she had to serve them, and her husband had an accident. So everything just happened because when she was about to start pleasuring herself, she had to run out. Then she left the remote control of the toy on top of the television, and grandmother there took the remote control thinking that it was the remote control for the television. So use your imagination, and everything happened right in front of her husband and her mother-in-law.
Well, I can see how that's your least favorite story because it's kind of not very realistic. Because no matter how chaotic it is, you will not run out like that with the remote outside. And even though if you are in the process of that, I think you can excuse yourself.
I liked how it ended, but the fact that I did not believe the story, it's why it's at the bottom for me.
The story was directed by Zoya Akhtar, and it's nice. The acting was okay, the pacing was fine, it had a beautiful end. But there is Lost, but it's not deep, hardcore Lost like that for me. So this lady is working as a maid for this young man, and they're having a sexual relationship, and now his parents have arranged a marriage for him, and they come over to visit. So she's just watching all this happen. I think she's deeply in love with this guy. I like how the emotions in this story is just in her face. She doesn't have a lot of lines, so most of her emotions are just passed through her own face. Just like how you ended, you just ended like that with her leaving the house.
The second least favorite story will be Kalindi's story. It's the first story actually in the anthology, and the story just really left me like, okay, what's going on here? I liked it. It follows this woman. She's actually a professor. She decided to have a relationship with her students. She confused the young man. I started feeling sorry for the young man, like, okay, what do you want from this guy?
Because when the relationship started, she made it clear that, okay, this is nothing.
I don't want any feelings here. I'm still married. And it's an open relationship.
Clingy. He should just confess that it was a consented thing that happened with them.
I want you, but I don't want you. Okay, and the guy is just so sweet and so quiet, and it's just confusing. It's just confusing the guy. It just really shows what happens in open relationships sometimes. I like the story. I like the acting, but it's number 3 for me here.
For number 3, it has to be the Baka story for me. I love the actress in this story. So this story, the lady, she is a banker in a small bank, and her husband is quite wealthy, but she's cheating on him with his best friend. Her husband doesn't really listen to her, and her husband comes over and he calls a friend and tells the friend that, oh, she's not around, she left the children hungry at home. And she's like, okay, we have to tell him about our affair. But the friend is like, no way, let's not tell him, we can't tell him. And she invites him over and tells him that, I'm at your friend's house. And she goes on to tell her husband that me and this man were having an affair. And the husband is quite pained. I like the moment where he was crying in the bedroom. I don't know why, but I really like seeing him cry.
This story is my number 2. The actress here, she's so badass. I love her. This story, just like some sort of pissing contest between both men here. Like the husband don't want the other man to know that, oh, he knows that he was having an affair with his wife. And I just like that the woman, she was just in control of her emotions and everything. Like, okay, whatever you want to decide is your business. But for me, I'm at peace with myself.
For me, number 2 is Karan's story. That's the story of the sex toy where she played herself in front of her entire in-laws. That's like my number 2, my second favorite story.
My number 1, I don't know why anyone may put that as number 4. It's an insult to that story. That story is the best story in the entire movie. And I would recommend that you watch it and kill this debate. This story is so good. The acting, like she said, the acting is so good. Like the emotions on the face. And when it ended, just like, I was like, ugh! Like the writer did like, just ended it well. There's no room for many talk or anything, so it's quiet. But the emotions are already there.
Yeah, most of it.
Did you sit yourself? Everything is bang, 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 bang. The maid, I don't want to say she thinks she loves the man. I don't think so. I just think that she thinks that, okay, this man, it's just this vicious cycle of people in power or people above other people use people that are like less privileged, and he just used the young girl to just warm his bed. He was never going to get married to her. He was never going to show out to his friends. He was never going to do any of that. And in a way, even though she always knew that, at the same time, she was like it's just a shrug. Like at the end, you're just like, okay, that life just somehow sometimes. So that's why I love the story to the end. Like even when I even watch part 2, that story is still number 1.
Well, for number 1, I will have the lecturer, lecturer who had a relationship with her student. I like this story because it was the pilot's story, and it just, that's why I was just hooked to the entire movie, and I continued seeing the story. There was this like confessional interview that she had to explain, okay, what's going on in her relationship, and we found out about her marriage with her husband. I wasn't expecting that other stories are going to be like that, with the women involved in this relationships are going to have different interviews like that or just explain themselves, but it was not like that. And I just like the style of it. I like the cinematography. I just like everything about this story.
And the actress was really good.
Yeah. Love Stories 1 is going to have 5 stars.
5 stars, Love Story 1. It's so good. The directors did well.
We recommend that you should check Lost Stories out, and like this video, subscribe, and let us know what you think if you have seen this movie. Bye.